Hello, this is YumongX. Today is June the 4th, 2022. It's been 33 years since the 1989 massive protests and demonstrations in big cities all over China led by college students. In 1989, I was a college freshman in Xi'an and participated in the demonstrations in Xi'an together with an Asian American named Roger Page. He is a USC graduate. As someone who has first-hand experience of the so-called pro-democracy movement, I want to tell what have been left out in Western media about the movement. Number one, the majority of the participants thought they were protesting against government corruption, but they were blindsided about the real purpose of the movement. Looking back now, it was a sinister political coup orchestrated by anti-communist force. The real purpose was regime change. I heard it with my own ear from a supposedly student leader from my university at a meeting. Number two, the so-called pro-democracy movement caused a terrible disruption to China and lasted for too long. In Xi'an, public transportation was shut down, streets were blockaded, stores were closed, and in late May, students were organizing a countrywide general strike to paralyze the Chinese economy. In Beijing, millions of students had occupied Tiananmen Square for nearly 2 months, which became hazardous in many ways. The situation was very dire. Number three, students were zombie-minded and closed off to any suggestions different from theirs. They wanted to destroy but had no plans for reconstruction. The government officials held numerous talks with student leaders, but the student leaders were uncompromising with their unrealistic goals. Number four, martial law was declared in Beijing, but students chose to ignore it and acted like they were in charge. Number five, so far there is no reliable records whatsoever to prove the so-called horrendous massacre propaganda that Western politicians and the media have been force-feeding the world. Pictures of the tank men, of people being transported to hospitals, gunshot sound and vision are just not convincing at all to justify the existence of a massacre. The tank man video footage actually proved that the Chinese military was very patient, tolerant, and restrained when dealing with the protesters. Number six, 1989 Tiananmen Square incident was a color revolution. Looking around the world, anyone with some sensibility could see that color revolutions are US-backed political coups, and that whatever color revolutions landed, the countries became worse off in every way. As someone who was born and raised in China but has studied and lived in the West for 26 plus years, I now don't see the Chinese government did anything wrong to put an end to the 1989 political coup with students' protests as a front. Every government would have done the same under the circumstances. Just think about what happened on January the 6th, 2021, on U.S. Capitol Hill and try to empathize with the Chinese government. I think it's high time for Western media to drop the annual farce of commemorating the Tiananmen Square incident. It's been 33 years. Just let it go. The Chinese people have moved on a long time ago. Thank you for watching and see you next time.